All right, now we'll go ahead and look at activity 1-3. So if you could, raw notebook, close that up and get it out of the way. If you didn't have an opportunity to finish, now you're going to need to take whatever portion of raw entry 4 you didn't complete and work on it outside of class. But with activity 1-3 on page 8, we've now we've now uncovered that we have a new activity. And what is it that we do at the very beginning of every activity? Remind me, what is it that we do? Dupree? Yeah, we're going to take a look at those learning targets. So just focusing in on those learning targets, let's go ahead and decide what is it, or what is the point of the activity, what's the purpose, how's it going to help us. So first thing we got to find, what are those action words that are telling us what we have to do? So what do we got? See, shoot, Jaden. Okay, we have to analyze something, so we go ahead and circle that. Any other action word telling us something to do, Michael? Revise. We need to revise something as well. So we'll circle that too. All right, now what is it exactly that we're analyzing, sir?
Imagery and knowledge.
Excellent. So we could just underline imagery, just make it simple for ourselves. And what specifically are we revising? We're going to be revising writing. And what about writing are we going to revise? Get a little bit more info. What do you see? Jordan, what do you see? Okay, so we're going to revise point of view. We're going to revise some imagery. We're going to add it. So these are all things that we're kind of circling, underlining, doing that whole kit and caboodle with. All right, so now that we've done that, we're going to do a very quick refresher on the idea of imagery, just to make sure that you folks are on the right track. And this is your answer for the in question in case you forgot to tackle it. So could you please read for us, Joseph? Yeah, could you please read for us literary terms? Is it Joseph? Darn it! Josh, could you please read for us the literary terms box?
Imagery is a descriptive or figurative language used to create realistic views from a image's mind. Details are the way that describes the character, setting, and
all right, so imagery is that idea of having a film happening in your head, and the way that the author makes the imagery come to life is by adding the correct details to help you build that image. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the before reading section. So we've got these 3 questions that we're going to go ahead and tackle. So could you read the first question for us in the before reading, Nicholas?
If a teacher gave you the choice between reading a narrative or viewing a narrative, which would you choose? Why?
All right, so real quick, answer that question. It doesn't have to be in complete sentences. It could just be very quickly. Reading because blank. Watching because blank. Go ahead and wrap that response up. Blake, could you read the second question for us? Thank you. So what's the difference between watching versus reading a narrative? What's the difference there? Don't worry about complete sentences for now. We're just getting thoughts out there. All right, and lastly, that third question. So could you read that third question for us, please? Now I'm looking. Jacob? Yeah. Jacob, could you read that for us? Okay? So at the beginning of any story, we're given what kind of information. And you can think back to exposition, that first element of plot, what kind of stuff generally gets thrown at you. That's how specific some of you are being. Well, they make sure to let us know about the characters, to give us an idea of where exactly everything is happening. Good stuff. Then don't worry about complete sentences. We're just getting some ideas on paper. Right, we're going to move you right along, and we're going to move on to the next part. We're going to focus in on the academic vocab. All right, and there's a lot of information in that box, but there's only 2 sentences that you really need to be aware of. So could you read just the first 2 sentences in that academic vocab box, Taylor?
You know the word context from context clues to define words. Context also refers to the circumstances of facts that surround a particular event or situation.
Okay, so the idea of context, you guys have heard back in 7th grade. Use the context clues to understand what is happening in the story. I can't tell you how many times I heard the phrase, and I was just like, no, I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay, the idea of context is just, what information are you receiving? What are you doing with it? Are you able to uncover any information? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move right along to the during reading section. And instead of us reading each one of those steps, let's just highlight the key information that we need. All right, so in step 4, here's the highlighted information. I'll say it aloud in case you have trouble seeing the screen right now. So during reading, the first thing that we have to do is we have to mark words and phrases that we can easily picture in our mind. So some of you might be highlighting a lot of information because the details our author gives you, you're able to make that image and that movie in your head come to life. And some of us, it might be a little bit less, and that's okay. All right, now step 5, same thing. We're just highlighting the key information in step 5. There it is. We're also going to be doing during reading is we're going to analyze how the author uses imagery to set the context for the story. So the imagery that she provides for us, how is it really helping us understand this event? How are we able to tell someone the event based solely on the imagery? All right. Okay, now page 9 is where our excerpt is going to start, and we're going to be reading that piece aloud. I'm going to read through it with you folks, and we're going to take pauses in the reading to make sure that we've got the information that we need. So go ahead, have your highlighter ready. If you don't have a highlighter, no big deal. It's not the end of the world. Just use a pen or use a pencil.